Are you thinking about skipping out on a buyer's agent to save money? A lot of buyers think it could save them money to go solo, but in reality, it could cost you way more than you expect. Does it ever make sense to go without one? Well, let's dive into it.
Quinn, am I really going to save money without an agent?
The reality is no. Most sellers are already factoring in agent compensation to the selling price, which means whether or not you use an agent, you're already paying for it.
When a seller sits down with a listing agent, what does the listing agent promise that seller? I'll get you the best deal. So do you think there is a potential conflict of interest when a listing agent double ends both deals? They're promising their client that they're going to get them the best deal. What are they going to tell their buyer?
I mean, at the end of the day, do you really think a listing agent is going to go out of his way to help you pay less for his client's home? Without an agent, you're negotiating blind, and that alone can cost you thousands.
Good point. I think we busted that myth.
Couldn't I just go to the listing agent and have them help me?
You certainly can. One of the motivations for buyers to do that is if they're in a multiple offer situation and they feel that by going directly to the listing agent, they get the inside scoop. One thing to consider, the listing agent is obligated to treat all parties the same. So if he shares specific information with one buyer, his buyer, then they would have to share that exact information with all the other buyers in order to be fair. And if that's not the case, do you really want to work with a listing agent who doesn't adhere to ethics?
So it's kind of like hiring a lawyer to represent both sides.
Exactly
And
the same.
do you really want to make the biggest purchase of your life using an agent who has to play both sides?
I don't think so. Myth number 2.
Busted.
Quinn, I can do this by myself.
Well, yeah, you could, but buying a home isn't just about picking one and signing contracts. It's about knowing how to navigate contingencies, when to negotiate, and for what. The listing agent can really do nothing more than hand you the paperwork and say good luck. And those contracts are legally binding. So there is no, oops, I made a mistake, let's try it again.
Right. And I just want to hone in on what you said. Literally, if you are an unrepresented buyer, the listing agent by law is prohibited from giving you any answer or answering any questions that you have, explaining anything that's in the contract. So unless you are really a educated and have done buying and selling many, many times, it really is not advisable to go at this by yourself.
What's that saying? He who represents himself has a fool for a client.
Correct. Myth number 3.
Busted. All right, Marcus. So we've busted some myths.
We
What
did.
are some of the pros to having your own buyer's agent?
Well, in my opinion, there's a number of pros. First of all, the buyer's agent has market knowledge. Second of all, the buyer's agent is your negotiator. That's who does all the negotiation for you. Number 3, your buyer's agent has all the trusted network that he relies on, the physical inspection company, the lender, and so forth, the escrow companies. All these services come together to hopefully make a very seamless transaction for you. And last but not least, the buyer's agent is here to keep the deal together and to advise you of your rights within the contract.
Buying a home is a really emotional time. And having a good buyer's agent makes sure that you don't make costly and impulsive decisions.
And here's one thing, sometimes you won't know how good of a buyer's agent you have until you are in escrow and there are issues that present this.
Goes wrong.
And goes wrong. And that's when you're going to see the advantage of having a buyer's agent versus going at this by yourself.
Agreed. Are there really any instances where a buyer should represent themselves?
I can only think of one, and that is if a buyer is well-versed in buying and selling properties, knows what a contingency period is, knows what physical inspection companies to use, and so forth. So there's not going to be any surprises. But that's not the majority of the buyers out there.
It's true.
You know, and so just like an attorney, they could represent themselves because they know the law. Unless you know real estate in and out, it really is risky to represent yourself.
So it sounds like having a good buyer's agent doesn't cost you money, it saves you money.
Ultimately, it does. Yes, 100%.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Keys to San Diego. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss a video. And if you're thinking about buying or selling in San Diego, you know where to find us.
Thanks for watching.